The Cuban Missile Crisis was a significant event in world history that brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. Here's a detailed exploration of this tense episode divided into 32 segments to offer a comprehensive understanding. 1. Backdrop of the Cold War. The Cold War was a period of geopolitical tension between the Soviet Union and the United States and their respective allies. The Cuban Missile Crisis was one of its most intense moments. 2. Cuba's role in the Cold War. The relationship between Cuba and the Soviet Union was solidified after Fidel Castro's rise to power, seeing Cuba as a communist ally close to the United States, which became strategically critical. 3. Fidel Castro's revolution. Fidel Castro led a successful revolution in Cuba in 1959, overthrowing the U.S.-backed dictator Fulgencio Batista, which shifted the balance in the Caribbean towards communism. 4. The Bay of Pigs invasion. This failed invasion by CIA-trained Cuban exiles in 1961 aimed to overthrow Castro, but instead pushed Cuba closer to the Soviet Union. 5. Nuclear arms race context. Both the United States and the Soviet Union were heavily invested in expanding their nuclear arsenals, creating a backdrop of mutual assured destruction. 6. Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev. Khrushchev's desire to place nuclear missiles in Cuba was influenced by the strategic disadvantage and Missile's ability to quickly reach the U.S. mainland. 7. Discovery of the missiles. In October 1962, American U-2 spy planes captured photographic evidence of Soviet missiles in Cuba, sparking the crisis. 8. President Kennedy's response. President Kennedy convened the Executive Committee of the National Security Council, or EXCOM, to discuss the various approaches to the situation. 9. Diplomatic back channels. Secret communications between the U.S. and the Soviet Union played a crucial role in resolving the crisis, including back-channel negotiations through Soviet Ambassador Anatoly Dobrinin. 10. The quarantine blockade. Kennedy decided on a naval blockade, termed a quarantine, to prevent further missiles from reaching Cuba and to avoid overt military action unless necessary. 11. Worldwide public alert. The world was informed about the growing crisis when Kennedy addressed the nation on October 22, 1962, bringing international attention and concern. 12. Showdown at sea. Tensions escalated as Soviet ships approached the quarantine line, risking direct confrontation with American naval forces. 13. United Nations diplomacy. The UN served as a major platform for negotiations, where Ambassador Adlai Stevenson famously presented evidence of Soviet missiles to the Security Council. 14. Escalation fears. The potential for an accidental or deliberate escalation into a full-scale nuclear war created a historic level of panic and fear worldwide. 15. Kennedy's strategic patience. Kennedy's decision to implement a blockade was seen as a middle ground, showcasing his patience and desire to avoid immediate military conflict. 16. Soviet miscommunication. A lack of communication within the Soviet command chain, combined with misinterpretations, fueled the crisis further, emphasizing the danger of miscalculations. 17. The onshore showdown. Besides naval confrontations, tensions were high in Florida, with military forces on high alert preparing for possible invasion scenarios. 18. The role of Robert Kennedy. Robert Kennedy played a key role as an intermediary in both direct and back-channel communications, notably during meetings with Dobrinin. 19. The Turkish Missile Compromise. Secret negotiations resulted in the U.S. agreeing to remove their Jupiter missiles from Turkey, not publicly linked to the Cuban resolution until later. 20. Days of decision. The critical period of decision-making spanned several tense days where any misstep could have led to catastrophic warfare. 21. EXCOM's debates. Within EXCOM, Debates rage between military action and diplomatic solutions, representing broader political tensions in the U.S. government. 22. The psychological aspects. High-stakes decisions were colored by immense psychological pressure, including sleep deprivation among U.S. leaders during the crisis. 23. The Soviet submarine incident. A dramatic face-off involving Soviet submarines, carrying nuclear torpedoes near the blockade line, underscored how close both sides came to nuclear engagement. 24. Public reactions worldwide. Throughout the crisis, the global population was gripped with anxiety, fearing a potential outbreak of World War III. 25. Soviet missile de-escalation. Khrushchev eventually agreed to dismantle the missiles in Cuba, a significant concession that helped end the crisis. 26. Broadcast medium's influence. This was one of the first global crises played out in real time over television, setting a precedent for media's role in foreign policy. 27. Lessons in diplomacy. The crisis emphasizes the importance of diplomacy and communication in resolving international conflicts without resorting to war. 28. Aftermath and de-escalation. The resolution led to improved communication channels, including the establishment of the Moscow-Washington hotline. 29. Kennedy's political outcome. Kennedy emerged with a renewed stature internationally, having stood firm against Soviet aggression while avoiding war.